What's happening, friends? Welcome to a very special episode 84 of the Game Moose podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Tifford, alongside the Brock star himself, Brock McLaughlin.
I got the giggles today. Hey, how's it going?
Jesus. And of course, the ghost with the most on the far end, Drew McMillan.
Yo, happy Canada Day, everybody.
Happy Canada Day, everybody. Of course, we're coming to you on Sunday, the day after Canada Day. But we'll just pretend that Canada Day hasn't happened yet.
In my heart, it's Canada Day every day.
It's true.
The world famous July 2nd.
That's what makes this episode so special, because Canada Day, of course, was yesterday, and July 4th is coming up next week for our American viewers / listeners. So we want to wish everyone, of course, a happy holiday weekend, of course. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you're
we'll
not
just
working.
After Effects some sparklers in here.
Yeah.
Whee!
That's, of course, Independence Day. That's the day the aliens arrive.
That's also just assuming we have the budget to do something that fancy, Brock.
Oh, I thought that was in the budget.
No, of course not.
Okay.
Maybe we should get a sparkler, like a sponsor.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to track down who sponsors.
The sparklers are pretty expensive these days.
Yeah,
You know?
so sketchy roadside fireworks stands, hit us up.
Yeah.
We're looking for a sponsorship.
We're always looking.
Yeah.
So on today's show, we are going to talk about the SNES Classic. We're going to talk about some Splinter Cell. And of course, you guys got to go to a cool event, and we'll talk about that later. But first,
Nifty. Yeah.
there's a topic that I need to discuss that's not game related that Brock, you inspired.
All right.
So Brock, I learned something very interesting about you on Twitter this week.
Okay.
You like pineapple on pizza.
Hell yeah!
Oh, what the
Hell
fuck?
yeah! I like pineapple on pizza. It
God.
is sweet and juicy and magical in my mouth.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, no,
What is wrong with you guys?
That's not good at all.
Brock?
I feel attacked right now in the middle, and they don't like pineapple on pizza.
Actually, I didn't know where Drew stood on this, and that's the whole reason I wanted to read it, because I wanted to make sure that we had a consensus on the panel here. It turns out we do.
No.
The only place pineapple on pizza belongs is in a trash fire.
Yeah, no fruit on pizza. What are you doing?
Now, the man who invented that was Canadian, and you're saying this on Canada Day?
Yeah.
That when I think of Canada, I think of pineapple on pizza.
It's true.
Yeah.
We did invent everything worth doing.
I actually had no idea that was true.
Man, I don't get it, Brock. I thought we were friends. I thought, I
are
could
we doing here,
trust
man?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
but
really
no.
think everything belongs on a pizza. Like, you could put anything on a pizza except potatoes. I don't like potatoes on pizza. That's just too much.
I think we can pretty much all agree to that.
You can't
one.
put a starch on a starch. That's wrong.
well,
Like,
you
can't-
see it, though.
Could you put yams
know.
on a potato? That seems a little
But
strange
people
too.
put like fries and stuff on pizza. Like
Those-
protein pizza is a thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not down with the poutine pizza. That
Yeah.
sounds worse than the Tim Hortons poutine donut.
if you're putting fries on a pizza, you're mentally deranged. You have some kind of sickness.
Or having a really hungover day.
Yeah.
Don't judge,
get-
Just sitting in bed eating a poutine pizza.
If those two things happen like organically, like you were in the room and you were like, oh well, maybe I'll just I got some leftover poutine, I got some cold pizza, I'll slap it together. That's acceptable, right? But if you're a restaurant and that's what you're selling to me, you can fucking forget it.
Or
I'm buying.
Or I mean, my cousin used to be obsessed with Boston Pizza, and the reason he was obsessed with Boston Pizza was because they serve a pierogi pizza, because he's obsessed with pierogies, which of course is just wrong too.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
So what, do you like pineapple on anything else? Or just pineapple? Do you even like pineapple?
I just don't like pineapple.
I actually like pineapple on its own, but I don't like it with other things. I don't like pineapple in my sweet and sour pork either.
I like that. I like it in my pina coladas. I like pineapple candy.
I enjoy a good pina colada. I'll give you that.
I like pineapple. I'm trying to think of where else I eat it.
Where else
I
I like it off the body of a woman
Yeah.
or
Again,
man.
We're
There you
we're
go.
talking about the solo pineapple flavor. I'm down with it, but
Yeah.
don't go putting it in my chili.
I'm gonna make an app, a mobile game where the only thing to do to win is eat the pineapple pizza.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I will gladly lose that game, or I'll just pay to win. I'll pay to win. I'll pay the 99 cents.
So
Perfect.
So here's my question for you, Brock. What fruit isn't acceptable to put on a pizza? Would you put slices of apple on a pizza?
Yes, actually, I've had apple on pizza. It's pretty good.
What about banana?
No, I'd say like no cantaloupe, no mango, no banana.
See, like It's all or nothing, man. It's like it's either you put fruit on pizza or you don't.
But pineapple and cheese together is just like a heavenly mix. It's like a perfect combo.
It actually makes me.
You get some green peppers on there, some mushroom.
You're making me violently physically.
I am very hungry now. I'm extremely hungry.
Well, it's a good thing we did this at the start of the show because now we all have to suffer.
Yes, now I can think about some pizza for the rest of the day.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. Now, to be fair, Brock, I do respect your opinion to have a different opinion than ours.
Thanks.
I still need to point
even though
it out.
I'm the right opinion.
I just, I tried to be nice, and you just throw it back in my face. I see how it is. Fine, I see it how it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna order us pizza next week,
Maybe-
and it's only gonna be pineapple.
Maybe next week you'll be replaced with a pineapple. We'll just put a pineapple in the middle here and put sunglasses on
I
it
have
and
heard
call it Brock.
pineapples are more engaging than me
Oh my god.
and well spoken.
Oh my god. Anyways, let's talk about video games, or else this show's never gonna end. So, topic 1 this week: cross-platform play. So, of course, this gives us a opportunity to talk about Jim Ryan, Drew's favorite subject in the whole world. So, during E3, both Rocket League and Minecraft were given cross-play functionality announcements. So, they're going to be at least Minecraft is going to be cross-play pretty soon across Switch, PC, and Xbox One, and then Minecraft is also going to be cross-compatible when Rocket League comes to Switch later this year.
Yeah.
However, PS4 was not mentioned in this list because PlayStation was offered to have the cross-play functionality built into these games on their consoles, and they refused it. So Jim Ryan...
Did they refuse or politely decline?
Well, more like politely declined, I guess. But Sony's Jim Ryan, who's the PlayStation Global Sales and Marketing Lead, said the following on the subject. We've got to be mindful of our responsibility to our install base. Minecraft, the demographic playing that, you know as well as I do, it's all ages, but it's also very young. We have to contract with the people who go online with us, that we look after them and that they are within the PlayStation curated universe. Exposing what, in many cases, are children to external influences we have no ability to manage or look after. It's something we have to think about very carefully. Guys, what do we think?
That
about
response makes no fucking sense,
That
Jim
sounds
Ryan.
that sounds like a big pile of horse shit to me.
That is holding a gun over his foot and shooting himself in it.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make any sense.
No.
You gotta protect the children. That's why Minecraft or Rocket League aren't cross-play across platforms.
I mean, like they already have online play for their games. So young kids are already playing it. What difference does it make if Microsoft kids are playing it?
They don't trust Microsoft.
Those
to drive down
Nintendo
on it, I
Switch
guess.
kids are a bunch of bad seeds, you know?
Also, sexual predators can't buy PlayStation 4s. They're literally banned. There's a special list.
Yeah.
And if you're a diddler, it says there's a no diddler list. And this is, you're trying to buy a PS4? You're a diddler. No diddlers.
And we know how, like, stingent PlayStation is about racists and swearing and all that kind of talk.
Well, it is the same network where you can't change your name, Brock.
Also that.
So
also that.
There's also that too. So I mean, yeah, it's just kind of crazy. So I thought more about this topic should be more about sort of what we think about crossplay just in general, because yeah, I mean these comments really just don't make any sense. In fact, Jim Ryan, I don't have any of his other quotes here, but he's just been pulling a Don Matrick, saying a bunch of really dumb things over the last week and a half. But
I'm led to believe the
nonsense.
problem is that they have to sign up for an Xbox account or a different account.
they do for Minecraft specifically.
Yes.
On the Switch, in order to play Minecraft crossplay, you have to sign in with your Microsoft account.
So that's Jim's problem. So he doesn't want people to have a Microsoft account.
If that was the problem, he should have just said it.
Well, he didn't want to sound. He wanted to sound a little bit more noble, so he made up some shit about the children because you always got to think about the children.
I guess, but that seems not true about Rocket League. Because Rocket League, Psyonix has their own account system, very similar to like Square Enix does with Final Fantasy XIV, which is a cross-play game on PS4.
Which I had no idea until you told us off air beforehand.
Yeah, which is just really boggles my mind why that in particular wouldn't be cross-play with like Switch or something else, because it does like why hold that against it? Because I mean it's again, you're already doing it with other games. So the Minecraft case, it makes more sense. It's a Microsoft published game on a Sony platform, and you have to use Microsoft's account servers to sign in. Okay, I get that. But Rocket League, really? Like, think of how much bigger that community would be with PS4 players playing with everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be huge. Like, especially with just them connecting with the Steam community, just like there's already a ton of people playing on Steam and PS4. Those are the two biggest platforms for Rocket League right now. Like, just imagining like them coming together, I think would be
God, I can't wait till that comes to Switch. Holy shit.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
it's going to be pretty sweet. Now, with cross-platform play, do we see a future at all where every game is cross-platform play? Or do you guys, is that even something you guys even want to see? Like, do you want to see your games cross-platform at all?
I do. I think it will happen. I feel like it's a certain inevitability because it's good for, excuse me. Pardon me, I'm still getting over a nasty cold. It's good for the businesses, right? It's good for the developers because it lets them sell more loot boxes or hats or whatever to a bigger audience.
Got to get those hats.
And that audience is sort of like integrated together. It's good for them. They want it. There's no doubt. And once they start getting a taste of it and start realizing how much better it is for them, and also once the audience gets a taste of it, when like games like Rocket League, games like Minecraft, when you have a bigger audience, like it sort of becomes exponential in terms of like the benefits to the players, right? Having a bigger audience out there to reach, to be easier to connect with games, faster games can go up and matches happen and more server variety and so on. It just means that players will be happier, and then they're going to start demanding it, and they're going to start buying games that are crossplay and avoiding games that aren't. And when that starts hitting people in the pocketbooks, they're going to start realizing that it's more important, and they're going to want it.
Yeah.
And so when the developers start asking, and if, for example, it drives somebody away from the PlayStation platform, which is difficult to do right now because the install base is so fucking huge.
Yeah.
But if that were to ever happen, I think Sony would stop and go, oh, wait a minute. I think the reason why they can say this right now is because their install base is gigantic, and they're like, we don't need crossplay to have like a huge, diverse cross-section of players. We already have that on our own without being connected to the PC or the Xbox or the Switch. Whereas the Xbox and the Switch need it more. So if anything, it's like a little coalition happening between those two guys.
Yeah. And don't forget about Steam too, because again, Steam is PC is cross-platform with both these two as well. It's not just console.
That's big. That creates a really big audience. I think cumulatively it creates a huge audience. So I think it will happen eventually. I think it's in its infancy right now, but. I also don't think it's going to happen overnight. I think it's going to take a while.
No, for sure, and I think that's still a long ways away.
Yeah, it's a huge. I don't really play online, so it really doesn't bother me. Except for now when I want to play Friday the 13th, but
Yeah.
I'm not buying it on Xbox because of the amount of problems you've had with it, and I've seen with it. So I want it on PlayStation, but if I bought it on PlayStation, we couldn't play together, and that holding me back.
Yeah.
because I don't want to play like alone.
Yeah, and this is something we talked about, and that's when I first heard about this. Friday the 13th is the one game I really want this for, because the main reason why I can't play on Xbox is there's no community on Xbox for it. There's like, you basically, in order to find a game on Xbox right now for Friday the 13th to play, generally you need to be on either between noon and 3 on the weekends, or there's never anyone playing. So you have to go to the looking for group thing, and it's cumbersome. Whereas on PS4, playing that version of Friday the 13th, you can find someone within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So like, if those communities came together, like, you'd be able to play it on Xbox. Like, it'd be a playable game. Whereas just it's siloed, the way it's siloed on that console really hurts it. Another game that really hurts it that, Brock, I know you're not a huge fan of, but is Elder Scrolls Online. Because the way that game works as well, it's also not cross-play, and it's an MMO of all things. So like, it's weird to play that. If you have it on Xbox, you can only play with people on Xbox. So if the Xbox community isn't there for like the later end game content for that game, it becomes a huge problem. Or even something like The Division or any other online only game, Destiny. That problem we had with Destiny as well, because Drew, when you bought Destiny, you had it on Xbox One and I had it on PS4.
Yeah.
We couldn't play together,
No.
but think if we could. Like that
That would have been awesome.
yeah, like that, just having those types of games be cross-play across the two consoles, at least, at the very least, would be a huge.
By the time I picked up Destiny, it was like a ghost town on Xbox. Like, there was nobody there.
Yeah. Whereas if you still go on PS4 now, there's still tons of people because the exclusive content there is what swung people to that console. So even if it had crossplay, people would still probably end up buying it there. But the Xbox people would still have people to play with. Like they wouldn't have a ghost town.
Yeah.
Which is too bad.
Yeah. It makes me sad.
Yeah. The only thing that, and we're going to sort of move on soon, but the only thing that, the only types of games that really it wouldn't work for are first-person shooters. Like anything really is skill-intensive because always the dominant platform for those is PC because mouse and keyboards are just so much more precise than controllers. So for stuff like Overwatch, for example, I'm almost kind of glad that it's not cross-platform with PC because that would, like the PC players would just destroy everyone, despite the fact that it would add so many more people to that game across all the platforms.
You could put a keyboard and mouse into the Xbox version, no?
I don't think it has mouse and keyboard support yet, though. I think they're still working on that. On PlayStation 4, there's mouse and keyboard support for certain games, because Final Fantasy 14 specifically, I think, is one of the only games that even supports that feature. Because, I mean, you can also use a mouse and keyboard to go through the interface on your PlayStation 4. So rather than scrolling through it, you can actually use your mouse to actually scroll through things, which is kind of cool.
I thought Xbox was all about that.
I think Phil talked about recently that mouse and keyboard support is coming, but they don't know when yet.
Oh.
I think it'll be out before the X comes out. Because
Yeah.
they've talked about it like it's been in the works for years.
Right.
So I just want to say this, just sort of cap things off.
Sure.
Sony's arrogance is showing a little bit, I think. Between that and Sean Layton like standing on the E3 stage and he's like, it's just about the games, nobody else talks. Bye. And then them saying recently, hey, you know how we had all these great indie announcements back in like 2014? We don't care anymore.
Oh, God.
Indies were so 2014.
That's actually another Jim Ryan quote.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's starting to look like PS3 Sony again.
Yeah, like you're gonna kill your fan base. Like you need your fans. I know. Again, you have your install base and you feel safe. That's probably the worst thing that can happen for Sony. It's like what happened with the PS2. PS2 was just slamming everybody, and they sold like 12 billion of those fucking things.
It's the highest selling console of all time still.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, fuck it, we can do whatever we want. And then they made the
PS3.
The PS3, which look,
Get a second job.
No knock against the PS3. It was a good platform. They made some mistakes, and they said some stupid things, and they pissed some people off. It was hard to develop for. It cost a lot of money.
It ended up being a great platform once like the first party studios really came on board, churning out games after like 2011 essentially.
Yeah.
But like until then, it was rough for PS3 owners because it was way too expensive and like you said, it was way too hard to develop for. And like every game that was cross-platform with Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 version always ran better too. Especially like I remember the original Assassin's Creed and the Orange Box and games like that that barely ran on PS3.
Yeah.
Whereas the Xbox 360 versions of all those games were fine.
Yeah. So I mean, whatever. Like Sony is fucking killing it right now. There's no denying that. I just wish they would be able to still be like, we sold tons of consoles and we still care about you guys. You know, we recognize that we sold a bunch of consoles because we came out and said we care. And we made an effort and you know we put our money where our mouths are. We developed the games that you wanted. We made the hardware that was for the developers to make so the developers can make the best game out there. We made Knack. We're sorry.
We're gonna make Knack.
So we're gonna make Knack 2.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they're not doing that. I don't like that, and I don't want y'all to think that I'm some Xbot, and that's what I'm all about.
It's just we want positivity. We like positivity.
I love both platforms. I own both. My PlayStation 4 I play at this point since I bought it. I played it like way more than my Xbox recently. I really love turning that thing on. But yeah, it makes me sad when I hear this stuff. As a fan, it makes me go like, why don't you guys care about me? I spend lots of money on your fucking shiny box. Give a shit about me.
Think about the indies.
Yeah.
Well, what can you do?
They were so 2014, Drew.
Yeah.
It's fine. All right, next topic.
Hey.
Put in just for Brock, because I knew he'd be psyched about this one. So, Yves Guillemot at Ubisoft, on the Ubisoft blog, teased something about Splinter Cell.
Oh.
Of course, Brock famously predicted that Splinter Cell would be announced and come out this year, but he did weigh on this because someone did ask about this at E3. So this is a quote from him directly. We are receiving lots of sketches and proposals around the brand being Splinter Cell, and we're going to pick one up. If you think that you're able to see something, but you'll have to wait on that. So it sounds like
it's in the very early stages of development.
It sounds like they said, wait a minute, Splinter Cell needs a break, and we need to figure out what we can do to make Splinter Cell a really great game again. Everybody start pitching us ideas, and when we find a really good, unique one that sticks, then we'll go with it. But we're still trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah, it still sounds like they're very much in pre-planning. He also weighed in on a Reddit AMA as well about this. Quote, Splinter Cell is a brand we talk about a lot. It's also personally one of my favorite series. We don't really have anything specific to share at the moment, but teams are working on different things, so stay tuned for more.
It sounds like they're prototyping. Like they're and prototyping and pitching, which means that like a game is like 3-4 years away.
Yeah, we're not going to see a new Splinter Cell to 2019, 2020,
Like,
which means I won't have to put that on my predictions list for a long time.
No, exactly. I mean, it seemed like it was time for a new Splinter Cell this year. I was really jonesing for one, so I actually really wanted your prediction to come true, Brock.
Yeah, I feel like we don't get enough stealth games.
I'm actually kind of surprised in a lot of ways that it either that if it wasn't announced at E3 that it was at least close in development, but this sounds like it's like just like Prince of Persia or Beyond Good and Evil. Like it sounds like it's in that early prototype stage.
Did you guys watch that Beyond Good and Evil footage?
The prototype stuff?
Yeah.
Ryan and I watched it together, and we both kind of shook our heads and said, like, okay, so this is barely a game right now. This is basically a graphics demo,
That
essentially.
game's a PS5 game, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a PS4 game because it looks like it's at least 3 or 4 years away.
Yeah, like I can see what they're trying to do, and like the whole like all the stuff that they're trying to do, like it's infinitely scalable. Like you can go down to the city. It's like Grand Theft Auto, but with space, and you know, like this monkey is tiny and this statue is giant. Like that's all awesome. But that all that stuff is super fucking hard and takes a long time to develop.
And there's like no camera stuff at all. No. Like it looks like a totally different game. Like this doesn't look anything like Beyond Good and Evil.
It's all about. It looks to be all about spaceships and heists.
Yeah, like they clearly are just keeping the name and changing the entire property.
They actually talked about how this was supposed. It actually was supposed to be like this. It's not a different game. The Beyond Good and Evil was supposed to be a trilogy. This was the second game is actually supposed to be this. Like this is what they were planning for the second game, not on this scale, but like the idea of like focusing on robberies and things like that. Like that was supposed to be like it was supposed to serve as a prequel, and then the final one was supposed to be the sequel to the first game and have me about Jade's sort of return, essentially.
So that game will come out in 2082.
Essentially.
We will be long and dead.
Yeah, exactly. Or people just not know what Beyond Good and Evil is at this point.
The amount of pizza and pineapple I eat, I will be over by 60.
It will be a numerous.
Yeah.
You won't be able to count it. But yeah, it's too bad because I honestly, I'm with you, Brock. I kind of wanted a new Splinter Cell sometime soon, but it sounds like it's going to be at least a little while before we get to see that. All right, next topic on a better note, actually. You guys got to go to a cool event this week. So y'all got to go to the Rec Room here in Toronto. It just opened. I think it's Cineplex that's running that.
Yeah, yes. Cineplex opens. There's the only other one is in Edmonton.
Right.
What up, Edmonton?
Yeah, Edmonton needs something to do.
At least Sean Capri, friend of the show, has some place to go.
Yeah.
So pretty much it's like a Palladium with a huge ass bar for adults.
But the Rec Room in Toronto, so it's at the old Roundhouse, which is like an old rail installation. It's like an old historic building, which is pretty cool. It's huge. The space is gigantic.
40,000 square feet.
So they have a huge arcade space, restaurant, bar, but they also have like all these like private booths in the back, and they have a whole like concert venue kind of thing where like they've got a great big stage with a great big projector, a bar like for doing like they said they're gonna have live bands and do esports stuff there, which is cool.
Yeah. Well, Cineplex is very into that esports world too right now.
Yeah.
So this makes a lot of sense for them.
So they were talking about, they said like some of the stuff that they were doing was not a good venue for like the esports stuff they wanted to do. Like the theater, Like doing it at movie theaters works for things like Dota and stuff like that, but it's not ideal for things like Rock Band, where like if you want to get up on a stage and people want to be able to see you and the game.
That's right. They said they're gonna have Rock Band there, and I'm so fucking excited.
That's actually
the
pretty
band's coming back together, boys. We're doing it.
Are we going to be esports Rock Band players?
Yeah.
I think so.
Guys, you guys need to get to my level though, because I'm the only one here who plays on expert.
I will get there. I will train long and hard.
I'll sing on expert. You got it.
All right, I can count on that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they opened up a thing.
Yeah. And you guys got to go to the grand opening, I guess.
Yes, and then there's a game inside called The Void, and The Void's this company out of LA that do virtual reality experiences.
Yes. Yeah. So the Void, I'm guessing they'll have different things going through the Void at certain points. Like,
Probably.
They'll have different setups, but right now the one that we played was Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters Dimension is what it's called. So it's a multiplayer VR experience where it's interesting. When you first go in, it feels like Laser Quest, right? Like you walk into like a little area where there are backpacks with guns and headsets all like hung along the walls. You go over, someone helps you strap in. And props to the people at the Void for being prepared for big fat guys. They had nice little extensions for their vest things that you got to wear.
The staff was all very nice.
No,
and very helpful.
they're super cool. And you kind of have to be, because what happens is in that environment is, so you're in that little like hallway and there's a door with a light. They put the headset on you and strap you into the backpack, and you really got to strap in because the backpack is
fairly heavy.
It's a little on the heavy side.
Yeah, it's a little heavy.
To be fair, you don't wear it long, and I really didn't notice it during the experience. Like once you got in, it's a very comfortable backpack. Like they've got a great system where like the straps cinch in very easily and get really snug, and they have like a waist belt and like multiple like chest harness points and stuff like that.
This ain't cheap tech.
No.
This is very nice tech.
Yeah. And then the headset, same thing. Like it's like full like ear surround sound, and you got the mask down. The crazy thing is, you can't hear a thing once you get that thing on. So it's funny because they were trying to give me instructions, and I would like pull it up and be like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
And I looked at it. It wasn't Oculus, and it's not HTC. It looks like they built their own VR headset.
It's their own proprietary thing.
And it was really comfy on your head.
Yeah,
really
it was
comfy.
Yeah, I was a little sweaty though. I don't know about you. I don't know if you get a little hot
there's
in there.
definitely some sweat.
Yeah.
I get sweaty. My palms are very sweaty right now.
Yeah,
You guys are the hot crew.
that's just life.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is, I'll sort of recreate what my experience was. Went in, they've got a little thing that's like holding the backpack up, so you kind of step back into it, and it locks in, and you start doing it up, and then they put the headset on you, and you put it down just to check the fit. That's the first thing that happens, and then you realize that, oh, wait a minute, what I'm looking at when the virtual reality is on, I'm looking at that space like one to one, like the wall that's in front of me is represented by a wall in virtual reality. And the other creepy thing was they had other backpacks hung up where other people weren't set up. And all those backpacks, when you put the virtual reality headset down, were other Ghostbusters, but they were doing like the fucking Blair Witch Project thing with their head just like down, like up against the wall. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was really creepy. I was like, oh shit.
That's really weird.
And then I started realizing, okay, this is how this is going to work. It knows the position of my backpack and my headset and everybody else, and it's going to show those people as Ghostbusters. So,
and before going in, you make your avatar too. So if you're a chick or you're not white, you can change that.
Yeah, you're not just default like a bunch of white dudes.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Which we didn't know. Yeah. I had to ask after because I was like, oh, that might be a little touchy.
They did it for us. They looked at it and went, oh, look, it's a bunch of, because it was we're all the four guys that were doing it together. It was Brock, myself, and
Raju from the Toronto Star, and I can't remember his name from Metro newspaper.
Yeah, really nice dudes. So they just looked at us and went, okay, yeah, they just picked avatars for us, because it's not like you go through a huge selection. It's just like, or like what gender and what ethnicity do you prefer?
Are you trying to say that Brock couldn't play as a girl? If he
I
wanted
could
to?
actually.
You could.
Yeah,
it was
can.
just they made that choice for us just as part of like the press thing to get us
just
through.
to get us going.
Okay.
So we put the headsets down, and they kind of take us over to a door, and it's got a little light on it. We've got our headsets are flipped up at this point. And they're like, okay, so when you're gonna put your headset down and you're gonna see the door. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna see the door. And that's when I started realizing, and they started explaining more and more, that everything in the virtual space that you see when you have the headset down is mapped 1-to-1 to the real space.
There was a couch. I sat down on it.
I remember.
It was
I tripped me out. I'm like,
weird.
we saw Brock saw the couch, and I was like, Brock, sit on it, like, give it a try. And the chair was there, and it was part of the. So like, if you see something and it looks like you're going to bump into it, you will bump into it in real life.
Yeah.
So we put our headsets down. The door was there, and again, now we see the door in virtual reality with the exact same light. And they say when the light comes on, you go through. The light came on, and it was like, okay, so someone's going to carefully open the door for us and shuffle us through. They're like, no, just open the door, and it's totally natural. Like, you open the door handle and you walk through, and and then I don't want to spoil anything else because the whole experience of like how they do things is really cool. You move through the space, you go to different environments, and you experience different things. I will say this, that it is very interactive. Like, at one point, we were in sort of like what was meant to be a different area, and it felt very different. Like, the ground underneath us was a little less certain, and
shaky.
like, and at one point you go outside in the video game, like you're outside of, like, you started inside like an apartment, and then you go outside, and then like you feel the wind on your face, and it feels cooler. It feels like you're in a different place.
You get shit shot at you, like liquid and stuff.
We won't say what, but there's definitely a very cool moment.
And smell that isn't horrible.
There's a smell. Now, my
got smell
cold
vision.
was like really bad at the time, and I was like, "What? There was a smell? I couldn't smell it. Oh, damn!" But yeah, there's a smell-o-vision kind of thing that happens. What was really remarkable about this is what sets this apart from other VR experiences. Are the two things. One is that the physical space, again, is mapped 1-to-1. So now you couldn't take this and put this into your living room.
No.
It wouldn't work. It depends on them knowing exactly what the layout is, the floor space is, and they take advantage of that as best they can. Two is the social aspect. So the thing that I haven't mentioned yet is when you put the headset down and you're in the game, when you talk, there's a microphone built into the headset, and it's transmitting your audio to all of the other players. So when I was like shouting and hollering, Brock could hear me, and when Brock was shouting and hollering, I could hear him. And same thing with Raju and the other guy whose name I've forgotten. I'm very sorry. Excuse me.
So everyone could just hear me giggling away.
And you know, the funny thing was we were waiting to go in, and while we were, Teddy from the Space Channel was there, and we heard him, and he was like screaming and hollering, and we're like, oh, he's just hamming it up for the cameras. And then when we went in, we're playing, and I'm like, oh, look out! Oh, and then I realized at a certain point, I'm doing the same thing because it really sucks you in that fast.
And he went in alone too for the segment. He didn't even get the team experience.
That's right.
Like we did.
And that was, I think that was key. That was so much fun. You've got the gun. You're talking with your buddies. You know, like
we're high-fiving in there because you can see your hands like knocking each other. Like you're like, good job, man. Because you got to like work as a team to get through like some of the missions. Right?
Yeah. There was one thing that I thought was really, really hilarious. I won't tell you exactly the details of it again because I don't want to spoil it. Like, this is important that you try this.
No, it
for
sounds
yourself.
like an experience that everyone should go try if they have the ability.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where all the guys there were the four of us. I was standing in a corner and I was looking towards them, and then the three of them were standing with their backs to what would be a window, looking towards me. And something came up in the window behind them, and I was just like, "Oh no! Look behind you!" And it felt like a moment from like the movie, right?
Yeah.
It was really, really awesome. But the crazy thing about this, so here's my one hang up about this. The experience, how long did you say it was?
12 minutes.
Is it 12 minutes?
12 minutes.
It felt like 5. Like, it flew by so fast. It's 12 minutes. It's priced at the same as a 4DX or VIP theater experience, which is $25.
Yeah.
So that's
just under 25
per person.
Yeah.
It's a little on the high side. Especially if you want to do this multiple times. You got to imagine if you want to go through twice, which I wouldn't blame you if you did. That's 50.
Because there is
bones.
missions, like you get a score and you can do different things.
Yeah.
So there's challenges in there.
Yeah. So like afterwards, it'll kind of give you a hint of like, oh, next time maybe try this, which I really want to do, but the cost I feel is a little on the high side.
So I'd be at the bar probably just drinking away, and then once I got drunk enough, then I'd make the decision to do it again.
Yeah.
I'd be like, $24.
I got to tell you, like if I was a teenager and I got like 3 of my other buddies and we went there for like a birthday party, I think it would be worth doing.
Oh, I'd be fucking losing it.
Yeah.
I'd be really stoked.
Yeah. Like as a matter of fact, I kind of want to get some buddies together to go And one of the things I've suggested is maybe we should talk to Cineplex and maybe talk about doing like a little like meetup at the Rec Room, because the Ghostbusters thing is fucking great, but
The rest of the place is also really fucking cool.
holy shit, is it ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Mario Kart game that is really, really rad.
It an amazing, yeah, because that's the updated version of the Mario Kart arcade game from Japan.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I played it while I was in Japan the last time I was there.
And it's a Capcom game, right?
Or Namco.
It was
Namco.
Namco, yeah.
Because you can play as Pac-Man.
Yeah, there's Pac-Man World and
Yeah.
shit. And then there was what was the other character? The Tamagotchi or whatever you was?
the
It
drum.
was Don, who's like a little drum mascot guy.
Yeah, because he's from the drum franchise in Japan. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
'cause-
The Konami, or not the Konami, rather the Namco
Yeah.
drum game.
yeah.
I just love that they take your photo beforehand, like wearing a stupid
Yeah.
hat or something, and then it goes over the player. Like, that'd be so cool in Mario Kart Online.
You know what's amazing, actually, Brock, is that when you play it in Japanese arcades, it is online.
Oh.
So when you actually, like, for example, when I was in Japan, I played the game. I was playing by myself, but I was racing against 8 other people in other arcades in Japan.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
cool.
that's
and
really
you
cool.
could, you could talk to each other, like talk smack, or it did the same thing where it took your photo and then you got to see like everyone's photo. Like it was really cool.
Our buddy John Scar sent me photos yesterday of Luigi's Mansion one that
Yeah,
looks
the
really cool,
remake,
developed
yeah.
by Namco too.
Was that at the Rec Room? Did we miss that?
No,
or?
that would have that was somewhere else he
Oh,
played
okay.
it, but that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Let's bring in more Nintendo franchise. They had a huge Pac-Man co-op Pac-Man, which
yeah,
was sweet.
The Pac-Man DX or whatever,
Yeah.
the great big one.
Yeah, it's really weird because Namco actually does like all of Nintendo's arcade iterations. So
Cool,
like
bring it
Kart,
on.
like, we
Get
just,
more in
We
there.
just don't have a lot of them here because arcades aren't huge in North America right
yeah.
now. Like in Japan, arcades are huge.
Yeah,
like huge.
and still continue
And
to be.
still
yeah.
huge.
And reasonably priced for tokens too. I looked it up after. It was pretty good.
Well, we were lucky because part of the thing was that the Cineplex people like gave us 2 hours to just, and it was like an unlimited 2 hour thing where you could play as many games in 2 hours as you wanted to. They gifted that to us as part of the
Experience.
the experience that we had, yeah, and that was great because we got to do a bunch of fun stuff. Brock and I only unfortunately had about 45 minutes after that, so we tried to jam in as much gaming as we could. And
I stayed and played alone after you left
yeah,
me.
I know. I know. But we played some. So yeah, we played like the Star Wars Battle Pods, which was fun, and a few other things.
I think it was like $40. You get unlimited. Like that's what that buys you.
That's
which
pretty
is
cool.
pretty damn good
Yeah, that's
because
not
you could. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Like 2 hours in there is a long
Yeah,
time.
like if we were going to do like a meetup or something, everyone buys one of those, and
Yeah.
then you've got like 2 hours of entertainment.
In 2 hours, you could play everything there too. Like at
Yeah.
that point, I think you would feel pretty satisfied, unless
you're-
you were going for points.
And your tokens transfer over. So if you buy like 50 tokens or whatever and you don't use them all, you can come back and use them again.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Again, that's very much structured like a Japanese arcade because you actually, when you go there, you get this card that you can pay for, and then it stores all your tokens and all your play on it, and also stores your stats and other things.
Yeah, like play
Cool.
data and like character customization and stuff
Yeah,
like that
exactly.
as well.
So
Cool.
that way you don't have to customize things every time. Like if you go to any like Sega arcade, you essentially have all the same stats, which is pretty cool.
So that's the Rec Room, but there was more to what we did than just trying out Dimensions and
You
playing
don't say.
arcade games. So after we finished Dimensions, and there's a really, really great write-up on Brock's website about
Thank
this
you.
on Brockstar Gaming. You can go check it out.
RockstarGaming.com.
We were taken to a private booth. And
Which I was not expecting.
no, we knew we were going to have a Q&A with Ivan Reitman. We didn't think it was going to sort of be this intimate. It was really just like a relaxed conversation on a couch with like 7 people.
Yeah, with chicken nuggets and Oreos.
Yeah.
And like 2 coaches. Or
We
3.
were-
Sounds amazing.
I think we were the only ones brave enough to eat the food. It was-
Deep fried chicken nuggets, I'm going to go in on. Like, I can't.
and there
not
was
eat
bacon
them.
with them.
Yeah.
So the funny thing about that is that I want to tell you this. When you're meeting these people, it's always really a socially awkward experience. Because you're trying to be professional, but you want to gush. Like I was like, I'm a huge fan. Like I'm a diehard Ghostbusters fan. How much am I a diehard Ghostbusters fan? My fucking handle online has been for many, many years RoboZool. Like
Because you like robots and you like Ghostbusters.
yes. And especially the Gatekeeper. But, I love Ghostbusters. So meeting Ivan Reitman was like crazy dream come true. And we're just sitting there chatting with him, just shooting the shit. He was, and we sat down, we had a nice conversation. Everybody had a chance to ask questions or make comments. Ivan Reitman was really closely involved in the development of this this particular experience. He went to go see the guys at the Void. They showed him like a sort of a prototype thing. He was like, "This is incredible. It's amazing what you guys are doing." And he talked a lot about how it reminded him of like sort of like the old school kind of like like magician sort of like theater acts that existed, where they'd have like ghosts that flew out of screens and like water that squirted up from like from the chair in front of you, or like like a buzzer in the chair, something like that. The whole idea of like it's a whole experience, and how do you do that? And he said like ultimately like we're still telling stories, and he talked about how like VR is sort of like in its infancy, like we're still developing a language for it. And this like film has a language. It has both a vocabulary and it has sort of like conventions. I think that like that's what he was really sort of talking about. Like we know what a close up is, we know what a wide shot is, we know what a transition shot is. We don't have that same kind of language, for example, for VR. We're developing that now for games. Like games, as it's becoming an academic pursuit, there's more of that. VR itself, there are things that are specific to it that we don't have a way of communicating yet, and it's so new that that's just what's happening now.
Because you don't really have that same control over the players. You are able to guide them more in a traditional game.
No, I mean, as a matter of fact, even less so. Yeah, like that's kind of a relatively new concept in games. Is the idea that like for example in Wolfenstein, this happens a lot, where basically someone you're in like sort of full screen or first person kind of environment, and someone will take control of the character as a means of like showing you something, right? Like what they're doing is taking control of the camera, which is what a movie does all the time. Like a movie is always showing you what the director or wants you to see, or the cinematographer, or however that arrangement works, But in the case of like video games, for the most part, you have control over what you want to see at what times, except when they take that control away from you. It's really hard to do in VR because that is so disorienting and so disembodying and breaks the immersion so much. If you could imagine having a VR headset on and all of a sudden them like swinging your head around without you actually moving, that would feel so weird. Which is always the problem that video games have had, is like when do you take control and when do you don't? When do you not? And how do you force someone to focus on something? So like Half-Life would have these scripted events, but then they'd have like a really restricted area. Like you're like on the tram or you're in a small room, and it sort of forces you to look in the right spot. Or in the case of like Doom or Wolfenstein, again, they take control of the camera as represented by like someone taking control of your body, like someone's grabbing you or something. Yeah. Or in like Assassin's Creed, where it's just like, no, then it just pulls out and it's in like a more conventional sort of like movie kind of presentation. So they're still trying to figure out how to do that in VR. And it's really cool because what they ended up doing is, in this experience, is there's just always something going on somewhere in the room. So you never feel like you're staring off into a corner and nothing's happening in that corner. Is wherever you're looking, there's some piece of the action, or there's something directing you in a particular way.
And like you said earlier, like when you called us over, we missed it behind us, but you let us know. So in a group environment, there's 4 people looking. We're all looking at different ways. So we're going to see shit and be like, hey, look that way.
Yeah, if there's just one of you, it makes it hard to do that. But if there's more eyes, the more eyes in a room, the more you can sort of do things like direct people's attention towards things, and then that itself becomes part of the experience, right? So it was super cool. It was really, really, really cool. As something I've never experienced before. I've done some VR stuff, but it's nothing quite like this. It really blew me away. I really want to do that thing again, but also I want to see whatever the next thing is.
I was looking at the Void website too, and they have some other stuff that looks amazing. Yeah, like incredible.
As much as I love the Ghostbusters thing and want to see them do another Ghostbusters thing, I would love to see some other stuff, like with some other properties as well.
Yeah, because that seems like it works with so many different properties.
Yeah. They Ivan was talking about one that was like kind of like vaguely Indiana Jones kind of inspired.
Nice.
Which sounds really, really cool.
Do you actually get chased by a real boulder though?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because if I reach out and touch the boulder, will it actually be a boulder or will it be a fake boulder?
I kind of feel like that would be a little too intense.
Yeah, because honestly, with the gun, like the thing I immediately thought of is Aliens. Like experiments like that.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like it'd be amazing.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that would be just mind blowing.
You guys are all Space Marines. Man,
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Or like Halo, or
Oh God, yeah, because it probably works with so many different video game franchises too. Like maybe something even like Gears.
Let me recreate the scene from Back to the Future 2. Okay?
Yeah.
On the hoverboard.
Yeah. Not the scene with Jaws 30 where the Jaws actually comes out of the screen.
the 3D Jaws thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The holographic Jaws thing. Yeah, it was really neat. I think that was probably one of the coolest things I've done in a long time.
Yes.
So
Very cool experience.
Yeah.
I'd definitely check it out in Toronto.
For sure.
So thank you to our friends at Cineplex for inviting us to that. That was very awesome.
Also, Ivan Reitman has played Doom VR,
Yes, he has. And
which
he was-
is really rad. And this
really
other
liked it.
game that the four video game writers have never even heard of, that Jon Favreau VR game.
Oh, yeah.
I had
There-
no idea what he was talking about.
He was talking about something like brand new. It sounds like that has.
It
don't
came
know
out
what
in
you're talking
January.
Oh, did it?
The first episode is out.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should look it up.
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
All right.
Who knew that Jon Favreau was doing VR? But I feel like he'd be really good at that.
Well, Elijah
Yeah.
Wood's also doing VR. So
Yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah.
Elijah Wood is pretty out there.
Yeah,
Sure.
he's not a duck, but he's a cool dude.
Exactly. All right. Next topic, and of course, this is something we all saw coming. The SNES Classic was finally announced this week, guys. How hyped are you?
I'm pretty damn hyped.
Yeah.
I wish those games would be on the Switch, but otherwise, I'm pretty stoked on it.
Yeah, that's the one disappointing takeaway from this. 'Cause
I was talking to Bobby yesterday from
If we ran Nintendo?
we ran
yeah, because
Nintendo.
you're a special guest
Yeah,
on Bobby's podcast. Shout out to
and
Bobby.
he said this other idea that he had heard from the Nintendo dads that I thought was brilliant is that you could just buy a cartridge for like the same price and you could put it in your Switch and play all those same games.
Yeah.
I would love that because I want to play like Earthbound on the go.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised they haven't done that yet, or even a digital download of the same thing. Like that would be
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
So let's talk about the classic itself. The Nintendo has announced that it's coming out on September 29th, and it's 99 Canadian dollars, which is about the same price. No, it's a little bit more expensive.
$20
than the
more.
Yeah, $20 more than the NES Classic. It comes with 2 controllers, except they're actually 5 feet long this time instead of
Still
3
not
feet.
long enough, but better.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Before, again, the main reason they were so short was because they used the same connector as the Wiimote connectors, so it was meant to be plugged into your Wiimote.
They still could have added
These were weird.
Bluetooth.
I know. Well, no, the problem with playing those games with Bluetooth is that there is a little bit of input lag with classic games, which is generally why the hardwired connection is better for those games. As someone who plays classic games a lot, like I know
Fair.
that's a thing. But the funny thing about it is that it's a mini NES, and the controller ports for the controllers look like the SNES controller ports.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if you can plug in SNES controllers and then make them work.
What I really hope is that the cool like aftermarket SNES controllers that have been made, the ones that have like the little like Bluetooth dongle, like the one that's really popular right now that's blowing up the spot is the one that looks like an SNES controller. It's made by another company and it's got the dual thumbsticks on it. But yeah, no, input lag might be a thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
for sure. But I mean, maybe they've worked on it a bit with Bluetooth. But yeah, input lag's always there, especially for harder games that we're going to get into in this list here. So speaking of the list, it's a pretty impressive list of games. There's 20
It
games.
is very impressive.
So here are the games: Contra 3, The Alien Wars, Donkey Kong Country,
Yep.
Earthbound, Final Fantasy 3, aka Final Fantasy 6, F-Zero.
Fuck yeah. That's not to F-Zero. Final Fantasy.
No, you're a fuck yeah, F-Zero,
No.
buddy. Kirby Superstar,
Yes.
Kirby's Dream Course.
No.
That game's awesome, man. You don't know what you're talking
It
about.
doesn't need to be
I
on
like
there.
Kirby.
The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past,
Yes.
Mega Man X, Secret of Mana,
Yep.
Star Fox,
Nope.
Star Fox 2, the never released Star Fox 2.
Yeah.
We're getting into that in a second. Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting, which is probably the best version of Street Fighter 2 on SNES. It doesn't have the new challengers, but it is it's still one of the better versions. Super Castlevania 4, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG 11 of the 7
Yes,
stars.
I can't
just
wait
for
to
Brock.
replay that.
Super Mario World,
Yep.
Super Metroid, Super Punch-Out, and Yoshi's Island.
Which is pretty impressive because we've seen that one remake of Yoshi's Island and it was terrible.
Yeah, the GBA one.
It was awful.
Yeah, because that's also the version they port to every console because, and this is something that's also true about Star Fox, is that Super FX chip games have not been re-released by Nintendo at all. So this includes games like Stunt Racer FX and Star Fox and Yoshi's Island and even Seiken Densetsu 3 or Mega Man X3 both use the SFX chip in some way.
I think I suspect I know why, and I don't think it has to do with how hard it is to emulate the chip itself. It's because the chip specifically contained proprietary technology that was developed by Silicon Graphics Incorporated. And I think there was probably a licensing thing that they had to deal with for some time. Because you can't tell me right now with the speed of computers that emulating the Super FX chip would be hard. Especially because emulators have figured it out at this point. Like stuff like
you can play it in your mobile desktop browser.
SNES, you can run that shit on a fucking Raspberry Pi and it's fine. Yeah. So I think it was probably a licensing thing for a long time. That's what I that's speculation. I don't know for sure.
I'm a little disappointed that they didn't put the other two Donkey Kongs on there.
Yeah.
I feel like they might as well should have.
Especially 2, because 2 is the best.
2 is the best.
2 is the best.
Yeah, the third one I could live without. And that there's no Mario All-Stars.
Yeah, well, Mario All-Stars kind of makes sense because the NES Classic already had all 3 Mario games in it, except Lost Levels, which, again, I don't know if you really want to go back and play anyways.
Kind of.
But, I mean, Mario All-Stars, it's disappointing, but I understand why it's not there, especially because the NES Classic just came out last year.
I get why Mario is missing not there. I would love to replay that game.
What about Mario's Time Machine?
No third-party developed Mario games. That was a huge mistake.
Yeah. But it's a pretty good list, though.
I think it's great because
I don't think it's a pretty good list. I think it's probably as close to perfect as you can get.
Yeah.
When you talk about what are the all-time classic SNES games, Ryan just read the list with the exception of Kirby's.
Kirby's Dream Course is awesome.
And Cool Spot.
I'm not saying Kirby's Dream Course is a bad game. I'm just saying it's not of the caliber of the other games that are on that list.
Like the only notable exception that's not on this list is Chrono Trigger, which I understand why they only went with a couple Square Enix RPGs, and we would have been saying the same thing about Secret of Mana or Final Fantasy VI if one of those weren't there, but Chrono Trigger.
They could have given us Mother 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mother 3 is a Game Boy Advance game though, so they couldn't have.
They could have.
Well, I guess they put a Game Boy game in there.
Wasn't it on Super Nintendo in Japan?
I don't think so. It might have been, but I don't think so. I thought it was only a Game Boy Advance game. But I could be wrong. I don't know enough about Mother 3.
No. Mother 3 was the first platform that it was on that it never came out on was the Nintendo 64 disk drive.
There you go.
And there was originally a different prototype for it. There was a 3D prototype that I think never came out, but they've shown bits from it, and then I think it became something else eventually. It would be great if there were a bunch of games, SNES games, like doing Star Fox 2 is incredible because that's a game that literally never came out.
Yeah.
It was developed as a prototype and then, it was actually fully developed. It was a finished game essentially.
Yeah, it was finished developing when the N64 had already been out.
Yeah, so it was too late in the development cycle for the SNES. There wasn't enough people playing the SNES, and I think they looked at it and said it wasn't up to the quality that they were hoping it was going to be either.
Yeah.
So they realized, well, we can just do this again on the N64 and start from scratch. So it's pretty ballsy of them to put that game out. Yeah. The reality is it's been out in the wilds for a while now. Somebody got their hands on a copy of it, and it's been emulated for some time.
So they've said it's different.
Yeah,
it's different than the emulated version.
Yeah. So that version they've obviously tweaked it and finished it up. The other thing too is you can't play this until you finish the first level of Star Fox 1.
That's true.
Which is weird.
They had to make you do something.
There's no Dr. Mario on it, is there?
No, but I mean, it would have been Dr. Mario and Tetris essentially.
Oh right.
Yeah, because I think that was the only.
It was a combo pack, right?
Yeah, and I mean, Dr. Mario was already in the NES Classic, so it kind of makes sense why that wouldn't be there. Again, the other one of the other games that's sort of missing that's in the Japanese version that I wish was in this one was Tetris Attack.
Yeah,
is in the Japanese only version. Legend of the Mystical Ninja, I know a lot of people wish was in this version. It's in the Japanese version, but not in this version. I can do without that.
Here's the deal. You know what I'm going to buy? I'm going to buy the European version of this.
Because it looks the coolest?
Because it is the same selection and all the English language versions of the games that are on the SNES Classic for North America, but it looks like the Super Famicom.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Which that design is, as much as we love the purple and gray classic Super Nintendo.
I mean, there are colors.
They are the colors of the website, for God's sake. We literally, like, when we were coming up with the color scheme, we're like, I'm just going to, like, take a picture of the SNES and eyedropper pull the colors off of it. Yeah, so it's... But yeah, the Super Famicom is like the sexiest thing ever. It's like a Corvette. It's so sleek.
Yep.
The buttons on the controllers are color coded. They're they're red, green, yellow, and blue.
Yeah, just like your Xbox controller.
Yeah, it just looks so hot. So I'm gonna spend some unreasonable amount of money to import that thing from
Yeah,
Europe.
because you also have to get a power converter as well for it. So it's not like
Well, it's USB powered, so you shouldn't have a problem with that. Because there's already a transformer built into the.
Oh.
So you just need.
I
Like,
remember someone stating that you would need one, but I guess
you just need a plug adapter.
Oh, that's
you
what
just
I
need the
meant. That's
appropriate
what I
like
meant.
thing to go into the wall, but you wouldn't actually need to change the power.
Right.
Because there's already a DC transformer in there that's changing the from AC to DC and
Yeah,
doing all that work anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
yeah. But yeah, it definitely looks the coolest.
So I've been hitting the gym lately and taking some boxing classes just so I get ready for when those come out. I can beat up small children
Yeah.
for one
I have a
because they
funny-
won't even appreciate
And
it.
old ladies.
And
yeah.
scalpers.
Yeah.
I'll just beat the shit out of any scalpers trying to get in the way between me and this device.
I have a funny feeling you're going to have to in order to get one of these things.
Because I know Nintendo ain't gonna send me shit. They hate me.
Well, no, it's not
So
just that,
I'm
it's
gonna
just-
have to fight.
I mean, if we learned anything from the NES Classic,
Ryan, I will shank
they
you.
don't make enough things. They
No.
don't make enough of any particular console. So.
And like I've seen people that like have not cared about gaming like ever want like one of these things.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everyone and their dog wants one of these devices, and I don't think they're gonna be ready for this.
So they did say they made more
Yeah.
than the NES.
in fact, that's why
So-
they terminated the NES Classic early. They said
you
was to
couldn't make
more
any
of these
less.
things. Yeah. Well, yeah, this is sort of the reality.
1.5 million.
So they said that they've made significantly more. They are saying, though, that this will be available only for a limited time.
Hey
It's-
Nintendo, why don't you open up for pre-orders right now, and you can figure out how many you should be making.
They did for Europe, but not.
I know.
Not
And,
for
and by
not
the way,
us.
funny enough, the Europe pre-sales were sold out in less than an hour.
Yeah.
Across Europe. Because there are already ones on eBay for $700. So get hyped, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting hyped.
Yeah, like
I don't care. Don't get in my way. I'll have a shank.
yeah. So the vibe I'm getting is that I know for sure you're getting one, right, Drew?
I really, really hope I can. I'm going to really try hard to.
Brock?
I really want
You're gonna
one.
tr- you're actually
I really
gonna
want
go and get one?
Give me one of those stupid fucking consoles that you could just put on a virtual console on the Switch.
Yeah.
But nope, I'm gonna buy another device just for this.
See, right now I'm a bit hesitant because I already own half the games in this collection, so I don't know if I want to run out and buy it because I'm really only getting like Star Fox. It'd be good to have for Star Fox 2 because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I also don't have the original Star Fox on a cartridge, but I mean, as to have stuff like Super Metroid and Mega Man X already, so it's like, for me as someone who has a lot of these games already, I don't know how much this appeals to me, but if you didn't have any of these games at all, or if you just like the SNES, like you can't go wrong with this package. I think, like, I think it's going to be one of the like they couldn't have picked a better selection of games. I don't think.
It's really impressive.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
anything, they could have
mind-blowing.
just added more games, made it more expensive, because there's a lot of.
Well, that'll be for the Super NES too.
No, because here's what I wanted to ask real quick. Do you think they're going to do a Game Boy Classic next or an N64 Classic next?
I'm hoping an N64 Classic.
I don't know. The N64 Classic, I like Super Nintendo games like live on, like they're still really fun to play.
Yeah.
But N64 just has so many camera issues and just problems.
Yeah, because I mean
Yeah.
the problem with those early polygonal games, and you'll revisit the same thing if you play old PlayStation 1 games, is that a lot of those games don't hold up that well, especially games like that really like third person or first person games.
It's almost like we took that as a joke and made an entire episode about that, Ryan.
We actually did, actually. but I mean, stuff like Japanese RPGs, like turn-based ones, for example, still hold up. So stuff like, believe it or not, Final Fantasy IX still holds up really well. I mean, the graphics look very dated, but the gameplay itself is just like playing an old Final Fantasy game.
For sure.
Two words. Quest 64.
What about-
Yeah,
What
that's
about-
a game.
What about StarCraft 64? You guys want to go back and play
Nope,
that?
not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
That's why actually part of me hopes that it's actually either a Game Boy or a Game Boy Advance Classic.
That rare
comes out
replay
next.
collection reminded me just how horrible Jet Force Gemini was to control.
Oh my God.
And the fact that I like completely 100% of that game as a child is very scary.
Not only that, but playing it in Rare Replay, you're playing it with the better controls.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it. But I had that guidebook, and I loved that game. I played the shit out of that game.
So that's the other thing to remember about this is that the SNES controller, both the NES and the SNES, but the SNES controller more, is remembered as being basically the greatest handheld gamepad ever developed, to the point where basically it has become the template for every modern console controller, period. Right? We're looking right now, we see like over on Ryan's desk there, we've got the Xbox One controller and the PlayStation 4 controller. And the basic layout of those controllers is very, very similar to the SNES controller.
I mean, right down to the D-pad colors, the button colors on the Xbox One controller.
Right. And then the position of the D-pad, the shoulders, the Super Nintendo was the first thing to have shoulder buttons.
Yep.
Triggers were eventually added later by other
Don't forget about that arcade controller for your Sega Genesis, Drew, so you could play Mortal Kombat.
That's also true. But the reality is the N64 controller is now kind of being remembered as a bit of a dud. Now, here's the deal. I think the N64 controller gets sort of a short shrift because it did some things that were really important that no one had ever done before, and a lot of people again copied elements of it. The fact that there's one analog controller in the center of one analog stick in the center of the controller, and then behind that is a Z trigger, right? So they were the first ones to kind of do that combination of analog stick trigger, which again has been huge and has been copied in other places. Now their idea was you're only going to need one analog controller or one analog stick, so we're going to put it in the middle so it can be ambidextrous for folks.
Yeah.
It turned out that 2 analog sticks was actually probably better.
When you go back and play GoldenEye now, it's bad news bears.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one innovation that they probably missed. But again, they were still the ones who were pioneers with that. They were still doing things that no one else had done, and basically everyone else copied and made slightly better. Nintendo has always sort of done that. They've always been the ones to set the sort of like at least for very, very many years, sort of set the standard for what controllers should be, and then people just basically ripped them off. And now for the better, because now we've got to the point where we've got the PS4, the DualShock. Is it 4 now at this point?
Yeah, DualShock 4.
The DualShock 4 and the Xbox One, the newest version of the Xbox One controller. They're both pretty flippin' amazing.
Yeah,
like they're incredible. And then and even like the Elite controller and stuff like that. They all owe their existence to both the SNES controller and the N64 controller. But the N64 controller, a little less so. Yeah. It's still a little rougher on the edges because they were going to a space where they needed to think of a new way to control games.
Yeah, and that's where you got the DualShock controller, the PlayStation DualShock controller came in with the two the 2 sticks on it.
I hope if they ship the mini 64 controller, it comes with like the original stick that ripped apart your hands, and then we can get gloves again.
Excellent.
Bring back the glove.
I mean, you got to spin
Mario
it around.
Party 2, man, just fucking hand was bleeding everywhere.
What about No Mercy? You got to play No Mercy and do that to do some of your finishes.
Yeah.
That's funny because 5 years later, I'd start using a different motion until it bled.
Oh.
And there's the show went off the rails.
Wait, what part was bleeding?
You don't want?
My
do you
palms.
want to ask this question?
My palms. It's just so much.
Is your dick made of sandpaper?
I was really into Tara Reid.
Oh man,
I hate everything right now.
You got a tough dick though. If your dick is making your hand bleed.
Yeah, well, I thought I was using. I don't want to talk about this right now.
You have an implement?
Jesus. There are some things I don't need to know about you guys.
It's like a cardboard tube with some stuff in it.
Yeah.
Some bubble wrap and some baby oil.
It was that stuff you used to wash the dishes. That really hard.
Excellent.
Hard metal stuff.
So SOS stuff.
I wanted to thrill when I was 10.
That's a little too much.
I was watching a lot of Stick Death at the time.
Anyway.
It's bad for your wiener.
That's what we think about the
it's
SNES.
Mangled now. It's disgusting.
And that's what we think about the SNES Classic, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh
Let's just wrap up the last 3 news stories of the week.
Yep.
Number one, StarCraft Remastered has a release date, guys. Get hyped. It's coming out on August 14th on PC for $14.99 US.
That's a good price.
Yeah.
How much?
$14.99 US.
cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably like $20 Canadian. Should be fun. It looks cool. There's actually an awesome Korean commercial series.
I'm looking at your StarCraft collection box over there, and it brings back a lot of memories.
I got the battle chest
The
on
battle
the shelf,
chest, yeah.
so there you go. Next up, over on the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter page, it was confirmed that the game will be at Gamescom with, quote, new movies and information to share.
Oh, great. Because gameplay is overrated. I just want those movies.
You got to get those new movies, man.
That game's not coming out forever.
No, but at least it sounds like it is a game that kind of exists.
It was supposed to come out this year, and they don't have gameplay for it?
Yeah.
That's a little worrisome.
Yeah, suck a dick.
Well, it was
Shenmue.
delayed till next year, so they already
Early
announced
next year, they said.
Well, you still might actually see
I
something.
want
at
Shenmue.
The main thing is we're going to actually see something out at Shenmue 3 at Gamescom.
And
which is
hopefully they
exciting.
announce Shenmue backwards compatibility on Xbox.
Well, what about that Shenmue collection that we saw rated a long time ago? Maybe that'll finally come out too, like with 1 and 2, because most
that would be a huge seller for the Xbox. if they get
Surprisingly,
that.
most people didn't have Dreamcasts, so
Yeah.
maybe they didn't play Shenmue 1.
Yeah.
That would
Like
be a
me.
huge seller.
Yeah, I think so too. And last but not least, speaking of huge sellers, TT Games has announced the Lego Ninjago movie video game based off the upcoming movie, coming to Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Switch on September 22nd. Get hyped.
Yeah.
Ninjago.
I just
the
can't
movie?
get into Ninjago.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I'm not a huge Ninjago fan.
The trailer actually looks kind of funny, and
I didn't see
the
it.
new sets for the
Oh,
Ninjago.
fuck yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
Real cool.
That fucking dragon and that mech suit. Yeah, they're doing it right. I love Lego.
See, I should like Ninjago because I like ninjas and I like robots, but I'm
Yeah.
just not a huge fan.
No, those Lego sets look really
Got
badass.
that old man though, with
That's
that
true.
beard and
He's got the riding
Yeah.
hat. Yeah.
yeah.
pretty cool.
I'm very excited for the
I
new.
thought that was just the guy from Kung Fu Kid.
Oh,
Oh, jeez. Maybe.
oh.
I don't know.
I thought it. No,
I'm
that's
hyped
him in
for the
Lego
new
from
Lego Dimension stuff that's coming out in September.
Yeah. Get hyped, everybody.
Powerpuff Girls.
We're going to talk about those in September.
Yes, we
Leading
are.
up to that.
No.
All right.
Now.
Speaking of things coming up soon, let's talk about our new releases and then we'll get into what we're playing. This week's new releases include Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Sword. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Next up, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
You said Heaven's Sword, but
Yeah,
I see
it's
Stormblood in
Stormblood.
your notes.
All right, it's Stormblood. I don't know why I said Heaven's Sword. Final Fantasy XIV.
Come on,
Heaven's
I
Sword
thought
is
you were a
Heaven's
fan.
Yeah, what's
I just
happening?
said it again.
Rookie, you
what the
noob.
hell? I can't. My brain's broken today, ladies and gentlemen. Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood is out this week. There. Got it
You're
right.
listening to Game Moose gets old.
We're going back to 2015 on Game Moose when I actually was talking about Heaven's Sword. Next up, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy,
AKA the Dark Souls trilogy.
aka the game that people are having a lot of tough times with because apparently those games are hard.
I don't remember them being that hard.
You know what I don't? You know
That's
what I
what a lot of
remember them
people
being?
say.
Not good. They're not fun games.
That's what you said about Sonic too, but
Why do you
Sonic's
want-
also a
I
fun
Why do you wanna-
like the third Crash a lot.
Why do you want
Yeah.
to run towards the camera?
because it's
That
fun.
makes me sad.
Because it makes you feel like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Repeat over and over again.
That only works like once, man. It's not good.
What
They're
about
not
the
good
seventh
games.
time you're being chased by the boulder tree? You don't feel like Indiana Jones then?
Nope. I didn't feel
Crash
like it the
Bandicoot's
first
a fun
time.
game.
There's a lot of jokes on Twitter about Crash Bandicoot being Dark Souls, and it's very funny.
Because a lot of people actually felt the same way about the same way you do, Brock, where they didn't remember that.
I don't remember it being very hard. Like,
Turns out those games are actually really hard.
I remember it's hard and I hated it because I played it in Uncharted recently, and I was like, "Fuck this." This
You
is
couldn't
the worst part of the
beat
game.
Elena's score.
Yeah, I was gonna give Uncharted 4 a perfect score until I played that, and I'm like, no, this drags it down.
Yeah.
Only a 90.
what's the cost of that trilogy? Canadian.
It's $49 Canadian.
Oh, that's expensive.
You know what that is? That's too much money to
Yeah,
play
that's-
3 bad games.
that's a lot of
We
money.
talk about they're great games, just like Sonic. Sonic's great games too. Bert.
Some Sonic games
Questionable.
are good,
Yeah.
but most of them don't hold up.
We can just pull down that Sonic CD I have on the shelf and then play it.
Again,
That's a good Sonic game.
That's the high point of the franchise.
That actually is the high point.
it is all downhill after
I have
that.
Sonic and Knuckles on the shelf too. We can
Wait,
play
Sonic and Knuckles is great.
when did Sonic CD come out?
1993 or 1994.
And how long have they been making games?
A long time.
That's a long hill to slide down, my friend.
Are you saying Mario and Sonic Olympics is not top echelon?
No.
I mean,
in fact,
that
it is
game's
not.
just as good as Fusion Frenzy, so I don't know where you're going with this.
Yes, it is definitely as good as Fusion Frenzy.
Fusion Frenzy is also a good game. All right, next up, Danganronpa, another episode, Ultra Despair Girls, comes to PS4. That was a Vita-only game. It's a third-person shooter. It actually works a little bit better, I think, on consoles, but I have not played this version. This is just what I've heard from other people.
I'm not interested in that.
I don't know. I hear Ultra Despair Girls, and I'm like, oh, needy women. I'm into needy women.
I mean, they run around with
Like they're sad and they're probably easily taken advantage of.
Wow.
And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's wrong. You're a bad person for even thinking that.
I mean, Drew, if you want a game where you play as high school girls running around with megaphones while fighting Little Mama and Akumas, I mean, that's your game right there.
That's not what I thought it was going to be.
That's what you do in that game. Next up, Valkyria Revolution. And the reason why I'm not getting hyped about this being a new Valkyria game coming out this week is because they totally fucked with it. Where it's not the same Valkyria Chronicles. They've turned Valkyria Chronicles into like a Muso.
What?
With more strategy.
No.
And I'm like, I don't ever want to play this.
No.
Because I love Valkyria Chronicles. Valkyria Chronicles, a franchise near and dear to my heart because I love strategy RPGs. And yeah, this one isn't doing it for me.
Yeah, Valkyria Chronicles is like a very good strategy RPG.
Yeah. Very underrated. A lot of people haven't played it.
But
I have not.
I don't want to play a Muso. That's for sure.
No, exactly. Next up, Modern Warfare Remastered standalone came out on PS4 this week. So if you didn't buy the legendary edition of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, you can go buy this version. Also, fun fact about this version, the one that came with Infinite Warfare came with all the DLC included, whereas for this, you have to buy all the DLC separately.
Boo.
So it still has like $30 of DLC with it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's only on the PS4. This is a PlayStation exclusive?
It's a 30-day exclusive. Because, of course, everything Call of Duty is 30-day exclusive.
Right.
On PlayStation.
30 days. Like,
Yeah, I know,
why
it's-
even spend money on that?
It's really dumb.
That's really
it's also
dumb.
physical only, too. And the best
What?
part... Yeah. Also, the best part about this, too, is that if you own the digital version and you sold your copy of Infinite Warfare, you can't play the digital version of Modern Warfare Remastered, even though it's a standalone game. Because it's still locked. Because you don't have your PlayStation.
That is
your
fucking
disc.
bizarre.
I know, it's so weird. I just had to bring it up.
What kind of drugs do you think they're doing over at Activision?
Activision makes interesting decisions sometimes. This is not one of them. All right, next up, Micro Machines World Series out this week. Micro Machines video game. Looks like all the old Micro Machine games. I hear good things about it. And some DLC came out this week. So The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC Pack 1 came out this week. I've barely touched it, but I really want to jump in it and play it. I just haven't had a ton of time.
I haven't touched it yet either, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, it just came out on Friday, so only a couple days
I
ago.
will not be playing hard mode, but I definitely want that Majora's Mask.
Well, I keep hearing that in hard mode, in the starting area on the plateau, there's a Lionel.
Yeah,
there.
which will just end your life.
Yeah,
A Lionel?
Lionel is basically probably the most powerful creature you can fight in the overworld in that game. And it has a ton of health, and the only weapons you have available at that time are like 4 damage clubs.
Is it just a guy
That
named
break.
named Lionel?
No, they're like centaurs.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's actually Link's creepy uncle,
Lionel.
Lionel. Yeah,
Yeah.
little known fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last piece of DLC this week, Diablo 3 Rise of the Necromancer. It's really expensive. It's $20 for a new class, and that's pretty much all that's in it. But I'm hearing good things about that too.
Yeah.
All right.
I need to play Diablo 3. I might as well just buy the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah. It's on sale this week because they came out with the Eternal Collection, which includes everything.
I have it for the
$50.
PC. I have it for the PC, but I wanted to play it on the console for a long time.
I think the console version's actually
I could never get into it.
That's sort of like the consensus. Is
I
the
tried.
console version.
Yeah?
I tried so hard.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah. You really have to like action RPGs, I guess.
It was just so easy. I didn't die.
Well, that's because you play it on normal, though, because they changed the difficulty modes since the original game came out. Where
But I can't go even higher until I beat the game.
No, you can go higher before then.
No, it's locked.
It shouldn't be locked.
It's locked. I made it.
You have to do it from the main menu.
I'm at the
before you
highest
jump
difficulty I can get right now.
on like
What's the
master difficulty.
Stinky butthole.
Whatever it is.
Oh,
And I'm just running through. So I gave up.
yeah, you just can't do
I
it.
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't like being that good.
All right.
You know?
Yeah, it's tough to be a Brock star. You know,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah.
All
Says
right.
the guy who puts all his games on easy.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of what we're playing, Drew, what have you been playing this week?
I have been playing a little game called Prey.
Yes, you told us a few stories about this. I kind of share them with the listeners.
I have a love-hate relationship with a game called Prey. The game is too hard.
Yeah.
It has problems with difficulty. Maybe that's me being not good at video games. Whatever. I just felt like the balance between... so it's got like a bit of a survival horror thing going on. I felt like the balance between the survival and the challenge was too high. There were too many places where it was too easy to basically paint yourself into a corner.
Especially with respawning enemies.
It sounded like there was a lot of annoying parts.
Yeah, there's some elements of the game that get really frustrating. It's too easy to get really like bamboozled in zero gravity. It's too easy to get yourself into a place where like there's one part where you go and you fight what is essentially a boss. You have a really hard like encounter, and you like load up on stuff and you sort of blast through all of your supplies. And then there's an event that happens, and then immediately you have to fight what is essentially another really hard monster immediately after that. Like a bunch of new monsters spawn in the area that are really tough. So like there you are, you're completely tapped out, and now you have to fight your way through a bunch of waves of really hard enemies. And you're just like, and that happens a bunch of times. That's really annoying. The other thing too is that like there's this whole element of like play your way and decide how you want to approach encounters. And
but you mostly have to do it one way.
Yeah, because essentially what ends up happening is, so you're like, okay, so I've got this area secure, I've got it locked down, and then you come back to that area later on and it's refilled with monsters again, and you're not anticipating that. So you just start realizing, okay, no, it's not like you clear out areas and then you sort of like you sort of take control, and
which I think it should be.
It should be, but it's not. Unfortunately, you get to areas where like, especially there's one of the most annoying things in the game is there's a monster called the Nightmare. And the Nightmare is the fucking worst. The Nightmare is a giant monster that hunts you down, and it only appears in certain big open areas and only at a certain point in the story. And he just respawns. And he's really, really hard to kill, and you will end up wasting a ton of like supplies on killing it. But what they don't tell you the first time you encounter it is that it will just keep respawning. It just keeps coming back. So you kill it, and then when you come back to that area at a later point, it just shows up and it says the Nightmare is hunting you. And the mission works, you can either kill the Nightmare or you can hide for 2 minutes and then it'll just disappear. Or avoid it for 2 minutes and it'll just disappear. So when you encounter that the first time, you're under the impression that maybe if you run down the clock, it'll come back. But if you kill it, it's dead. No. It just keeps coming back.
That's dumb.
Which is really dumb because it's like basically a boss monster. It's incredibly hard to fight. So the first time I'm like, I'm going to take this thing on. I'm going to kill it. And then I'm probably going to get some really cool reward for it. The answer is no, you don't. The answer is no, it doesn't stay dead. And it keeps coming back until you do like a specific like mission objective where you have to like you have to fool the thing into thinking you're out into space, and it leaves the space station. That's it. But they don't tell you that to begin with. It just keeps coming back, and I guess is meant to be scary, but it's just more annoying than anything. It's just frustrating. It's just like, oh, fuck off. Really? This thing's back again? And then it starts showing up in areas where it just becomes really irritating. So I hated that. The other thing, there's a great article about this that I read, so I knew this was coming. So I prepared myself. My advice to anyone who's playing this game is research the machine mind ability, which is the thing that lets you take over robots, take control of enemy robots for a period of time. It's really, really, really important because at the end of the game, there is one section where they're infinitely spawning super tough robots. So there are a couple of things I learned with the infinitely spawning super tough robots. The first thing is, number one, don't kill them. You can damage to a point where they're just like wounded and they're just lying on the ground. If you kill them, and eventually they'll respawn out of the spawners. And the other thing too is you can jam the spawners up with by stacking stuff in front of it, and then things won't spawn out of them. But that becomes really, really, really irritating, finicky, and hard to do. You can hit it with the glue gun, but eventually the glue just breaks and the things just come out of them anyway. But that whole section of the game is really annoying and really frustrating. The ending of the game is really, really, really... They hint at something really cool happening. Like, it seems like there's something really interesting going on. Like, you can hear the dialogue from the phantoms. If you listen to them, they're saying, like, what do you see when you look into the glass? And, like, other weird things, like hinting that maybe you're a mimic after all. But the ending of the game doesn't...
spoil stuff?
I'm not spoiling stuff, but the ending of the game doesn't really satisfy what would seem like a really cool twist to me. Yes, I did stay until after the credits, and yes, there is something after. So if you're playing the game after the credits, there's something to watch. But it's not. It didn't feel like it took advantage of the really good, really cool, really interesting, exciting stuff that they set up throughout the game. It felt like they were hinting at something bigger, like a bigger twist or something more interesting that never really came. So I just felt unsatisfied at the end. You have a choice near the end of the game, and you'll get this from the outset. You can either this choice is presented to you very early on in the game. You can either destroy the space station, or you can use like a weapon to kill all of the Typhon creatures and save all the research on the space station. And it's interesting because they set it up very clearly. Like they kind of manipulate you in a way that you think would be interesting, but it's very clear what the right answer is. And that is not to murder fucking everybody.
What? But that sounds like fun. I like murdering everyone.
I mean, if that's the case, if you wanted to murder everybody, you could just, because what happens is as you go throughout the game, you encounter NPCs and you could just like let them die. Like just say, fuck it.
Sweet.
But the reality is like, it does the thing that it does with all sort of like moral choices. And that is that if you just let people die, you don't get rewards for it, but you get rewarded for saving them. So like they'll do stuff like show up in your office and periodically give you goodies and stuff like that. So like it doesn't.
Do you have sex with any of them?
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to play
No,
this
they're
game.
just like the little sisters from BioShock. You can't have sex with them either, but they give you things if you keep them alive.
Like it's not a moral decision in so much as that like there isn't any moral ambiguity. It's not like, well, if I kill them, I'll get this, but if I save them, I'll get this. It's like if I save them, I get rewarded, and if I kill them, then I get penalized.
Oh, well, that's worse.
Yeah.
As someone who didn't really like the demo all that much, I really don't think I'd like the full game.
You're not gonna
I don't
like
think
this
I'm
full
missing
game.
any. I'll pick it up when it's super cheap, as it probably will be. But yeah, I'm not over the moon about it.
I'm really amazed I stuck with it, and the reason why I stuck with it is because I really thought there was going to be some really cool payoff for the story.
Because it does hint at that there's something cool there.
You finished it too, didn't you, Ryan?
No.
Yeah, I never. Again, I got to the story, and there is a conclusion, but I didn't feel like the conclusion was worthy of what they were trying to set up throughout the game.
Yeah. I've read the spoilers, and I was like, oh, that's underwhelming.
Yeah.
It's a little disappointing.
I like spoiling everything for myself.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, like if it's you have like a cost benefit analysis, like are you going to sink like, and this is a long game. There's a long game.
It's like 40 hours or something. Right?
Yeah, like if you're going to sink like 30, 40 hours into this game, are you really going to, do you really want to know wait until the ending? And the reality is I wish I had read what the ending was or just watched it on fucking YouTube and went, oh, okay, and not dealt with the nightmare 18 times.
I mean, that game's twice as long as Knights of the Old Republic, Drew.
Yeah, it's also got it's got tons of side missions that are really irritating that you don't have to do that have zero bearing on the game. Yeah,
I played no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily. In fact, actually, usually the last time I played Knights of the Old Republic, I beat it in sub 10 while doing all the side missions.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's another thing
I was
too.
a dumb kid. It took me a long time.
Because supplies are so limited in that game, you don't want to do side missions because you don't want to waste your supplies on doing like stupid.
Yeah, that was
stuff.
the issue I really had with Prey when I was playing because I didn't get too far before stopping playing, and yeah, like supplies are like a huge issue in that game, like even more than something in BioShock where like the game doesn't give you enough stuff. Like you said, you really paint yourself in the corner.
Yeah,
shitty.
So here's the other thing too: is one of the things the game presents you with is you can either use like the weapons you find, or you can use your like psychic abilities. The reality is that if you use the weapons you find, then you have to maintain and upgrade those abilities by finding weapon upgrade kits and upgrading the weapons and upgrading your abilities to use the weapons, and then you have to keep the weapons in your inventory and keep the ammo in your inventory, which becomes a pain in the ass. If you just use the psi abilities, which end up being a lot more effective because their area effect, it slows down time when you use them, it does more damage almost always than any of the other weapons, and the only ammo that you have to keep are psi hypos. So basically, instead of having shotgun ammo, pistol ammo, and like Q-beam ammo and all this other shit, you can just keep psi hypos. The reality is that like and then you can select from a whole bunch of abilities with one type of ammunition, and you don't have to keep any shit in your inventory. The reality is it's very easy. I mean, that is the way to like max out, your sort of like gameplay experience in that game. Like there's the reality is it's so much more uncomfortable to try to play the other way. I don't know why you would want to.
Yeah.
And this is all there is to it. Like, you can get hacking and you can like up your hacking ability, which will get you through doors and stuff, but also let you hack robots and turrets. Or you can just, again, use machine mind, and then you can hack any robot or any turret you want. So like,
I don't know why you would do it
for free from a distance.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to incapacitate the robot to do it. You can just do it from a distance. Again, it won't get you through doors or into safes or anything like that. But who cares at that point? And the amount of like raw resources that you would get to make sci-hypos from scrapping all the guns and ammunition you found, you would be just made in the shade.
That's all you need.
So, Prey gets a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's
70,
okay.
A 70%, 71-ish, I would say.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's still a good rating.
Yeah, I mean, it is a game worth playing, but it's certainly not for everybody. And
like
definitely play the demo. If you don't like the demo, don't play this game.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Yeah. It's kind of like, again, there's like other arcade games like Dishonored as well. Like, they're for a certain type of person, and if you're not that type of person, you're probably not going to like it.
If you like the System Shock games, you'll probably like this game to some degree. If you like,
but you can't put all your points into swimming in this game.
If you like survival horror, you will like this game to some degree. Okay. That's all I can say about that. Yeah.
Cool. Brock?
Well, I'll be a lot shorter. I was playing The Evil Within, which is it's a little rough around the edges now, but I was like really hyped on the second one, and I never played The Evil Within, and Ryan, you encouraged me to get it. It was on sale for like $20. I picked it up. It's pretty cool. It's really freaky. It's really odd, and there's some like really disturbing imagery, but I really like it. So I'm gonna go back and play that, and then I started playing what the hell is it? Little Nightmares.
Oh, yeah, Little Nightmares.
Which is awesome, which I think is better than Inside.
Shots fired right there.
Yeah, it's really cool. The animation, like the enemies and like the mystery is awesome. Unless it all kind of falls apart. It's a short game. It's only like 3 hours, like Inside.
That was my next question, yeah.
So I got, I think, about 2 hours in yesterday, and then I was like, I'm done with this. Okay. But I'm going to go back. But unless the story falls apart, I'm really like, whew, this is creepy as hell. Yeah. I'm into it.
There's one other game you did play.
Wolfenstein.
That's the one.
I played Wolfenstein, and I loved it.
Yeah, because that was your first time playing it.
Yeah, I finally finished it. I'd started it, not got that far. I thought I'd way farther. I was not. That is an incredibly fun game. I love everything about it. I'm going to have to play the Old Blood, I guess.
Yeah, because the Old Blood, I haven't played it either, but I hear it's really good.
So I'm going to do that. I'm now even more pumped for the new Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Like,
that game looks dope.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not prepared for how cool Wolfenstein was.
Nice.
There was some really weird shit going on.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. As for me, I've been playing this little game called Friday the 13th, and now that I can actually play it. So,
ooh la la.
Again, kind of like Drew's love-hate relationship with Prey, I have a love-hate relationship with Friday the 13th. Because the game Friday the 13th is fucking amazing when it works. When you don't have a host that leaves, when you're actually able to get a group together, when you don't play on Xbox, because the Xbox community, as we talked about in our cross-play talk, is non-existent essentially. That you're able, you have I have an amazing time every time I play it, especially when I play as Jason, because I love playing as Jason. Especially now that they've released the NES Jason skin, because that's all I play as now.
Yeah, but so here's the problem with this game though: if people aren't playing as Jason, then they drop out of the game, and then the client drops, and then everybody's fucked.
Yeah, because the one big problem that Friday the 13th has, among its other problems, is that it's peer-to-peer. So it's not on dedicated servers, meaning there's a designated host every game, and if the host leaves, the whole game shuts down.
There's no what we call host migration. This is a problem that Call of Duty had back in the old days.
Yeah.
They didn't initially have host migration, so people would rage quit, and then the whole game would drop.
My time with Friday the 13th has been absolutely horrible.
That's because you've hardly played it.
Well, I've tried enough to know that it's a big waste of my time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't actually mind playing as the camp counselors now because I sort of have my bearings on, okay, this is what I really need to do. I always have a game plan going into each map now. So I always have an idea based on, I'm spawned here. This is what I should be doing. So I kind of have a good idea, and it flows a lot better that way.
Ryan, I feel like you're like the worst teammate to have too. You'll just let them all die, and you'll be like out in the car driving away. I'll be like, "Bye, fuckers."
Funny enough, Brock, one of my strategies now is if I spawn near the boat, I always just grab all the boat parts and then leave.
Nice.
And then just leave all my compatriots
You don't even
behind.
save the pretty women.
Well, I'm trying to get the trophy because the trophies all suck for Friday the 13th, where you have to escape with the boat a certain number of times.
To be fair, at the end of a Friday the 13th movie, rarely does more than one person survive. So
Yeah.
let's be real.
Change history.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
gotta
it.
open your mind. Dude.
I mean, the last time I played as Jason, I murdered everyone, including Tommy Jarvis. So it was
You
the best.
killed Tommy?
I also destroyed not one but two cars.
Nice.
so good.
I watched like someone playing the game on a stream and watched the thing where Jason teleported in front of the car.
Yeah.
And that was fucking awesome.
I do that a lot.
That's such a cool thing to see where the cars and everyone was like, yeah, we're getting scot free, and all of a sudden, boof, Jason just appears right
And
in
then
front of the car. They
he smashes the
slam
car.
into it, and
Yeah.
he slams into the.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
It's amazing.
There are parts of the game that are really satisfying. The lows are low.
Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunately,
Why do they only have one intro animation for every single match? That needs to change.
It's grown on me though.
Because it's great seeing that
it's
fucking
hilarious.
guy's gaping face.
Yeah. His same look every time is just amazing.
The fucking preppy kid.
Could they not have done a little something more there?
Yeah.
I
The
wish
only
they
other
did.
thing I'm disappointed about is there aren't enough maps right now, but I know more are coming. Honestly, again, I've talked about it before, and I'm going to say it again. I think Friday the 13th is going to be a game that only gets better with time. And my recommendation for people is not to jump in now if they can help it.
Yeah.
They should wait until single player's out. Because I think right now basically the servers are basically all stabilized. That isn't an issue anymore. But I feel like a lot of these little nitpicky things that I have with the game right now are going to sort of be fixed by the time single player comes out.
If the user base is still there,
yeah, well, I think
or
again,
it comes back.
I think it's really strong on PC. The second strongest platform is PS4, and then Xbox. It's like deserved.
You could probably guess that the resurgence will be in October
yeah.
for Halloween.
I think
There'll
so.
be a huge new player base for that. They'll do a Halloween sale with that.
Or again, also with the single player is that like when single player comes out, there will be more things to do in that game. So even if the multiplayer community is dead, there will still be a game there to play, which is sort of what you want to do. Other game I would be remiss not to mention is Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood.
Oh yeah.
I said it correctly.
You were playing a fuck ton of
It was
that.
Heavenly Sword.
Well, let me put it this way.
No, Heavenly Sword is not even a.
that game has
That's a completely different game.
it has a Noriko in it and some
Yeah.
girl who like Twang. Yeah.
See your underwear or something?
Yeah.
Cool.
In Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood, let me put it this way. The game came out last Tuesday. Not the Tuesday this week, but the Tuesday before. I went home for 3 days without my console, and I've sunk 90 hours into that game.
Jesus Christ!
Somehow.
Holy fuck! That's a lot of time, dude.
Yeah. Basically, it's just absorbed any time I've had what I have.
So you went home and didn't see your family at all?
I saw my family without my console.
That was
I
the thing.
couldn't
So
play.
that includes 3 days where he didn't touch the game.
Where I didn't even have the game with me.
How much he's
to
played
play.
it
So for
nonstop.
4 days you played 90 hours?
Well, no, it's essentially a week and a half.
Yeah.
I've played about 90 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm all in. I love that game.
Yeah.
I mean, the story somehow is better this time within Heaven's Sword, which is already a game with an amazing story. Like Final Fantasy Heaven's Sword, in case most people missed our conversations from 2 years ago about it, Drew, is that I talked about it a lot. The thing that really separates Final Fantasy 14 from other MMOs is that it has an incredibly strong story. It's a game that really focuses on that more than its MMO tropes, which is a turnoff for some people who like MMOs, because a lot of people who like MMO games are just in there just to grind for loot and to fight big bosses and to do PvP. They're not in it for the story, whereas this game is heavily story focused. So if you like Final Fantasy stories, I think that Final Fantasy 14 Heaven's Sword, and again with Stormblood, like there are two of the best Final Fantasy stories is in the modern era of Final Fantasy. Period.
Yeah.
Like since Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy IX, which also had a great story. Like I feel like they're really strong games, and I almost wish you guys could play them. I know they're not games for you, especially knowing how Brock reacted after playing Elder Scrolls Online.
That's the fucking boringest game I've ever played.
I understand why these types of games aren't for you guys, and I get that. But the story, I almost wish the story could be presented in such a way where you guys could be on board, because I think you guys would like the story, But the rest of the game, like I know you guys would have a tough time with. So
Grinding is not my thing.
Yeah.
Do not like grinding.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like playing a game through and not having to be stuck.
And one of the nice things is right now with the story is that I'm going through it, you can basically get from level 60 to 70, which is the new level cap. 60 was the previous one. And you can get almost the entire way there just on the main story without doing any of the side quests or grinding missions or go kill five wolves over there in the corner. Like, it's a lot less of those types of missions, but it is still a lot of the same MMO stuff that I know a lot of people don't like. So, again, if you like MMOs at all, I encourage you, of course, to give Final Fantasy XIV a shot because it's still amazing. And it's free to play up to level 35, which is a 45-hour chunk. So
Free to play.
well, yeah, because you don't have to buy the game and you can play up as much
I
as
can
you want
download
to.
this on my Xbox?
No, because it's not on Xbox. It's on PS4 and PC.
So I can download it for free on my PS4?
Yeah.
I'll download it.
Yeah, because there's a trial edition on the PlayStation 4 store you can go download.
Okay.
And then you just sign up for a free account, and that's it.
Cool.
But yeah, and all the progress, if you do end up picking up the game after level 35, all the progress carries over.
Can I be a samurai?
You can be a samurai, but not in the trial.
Can I be a dragoon?
You can be a dragoon because you can start as a dragoon. So
Can I be a cross-dressing dancer?
no, because the dancers are not a class in the game.
Dancer's not a class?
No, it's not.
What about mimic, mime?
No, so the two new classes they added are the samurai, which you mentioned, and the red mage. They're both DPS classes. One is mostly at range, and one's
What's DPS?
damage per second.
Oh.
You're basically, because again,
I
MMOs.
really don't know anything about MMOs.
MMOs
I
are
was
even
thinking
game,
double penetration.
But
What's the S stand for?
Sex.
Okay.
Double penetration sex.
I mean, you're not wrong.
You don't often add the S because it's implied that if you're penetrating someone doubly, that you are having sex with them.
Right, well-
it's a little redundant. Usually, you don't have to tell them.
Is that why no one wants to have DPS with me?
Yeah.
Because I'm using the S.
Just start DMing
well,
random girls on Twitter with that. See what
popular.
how it goes.
It is the most popular class type.
Yeah,
DPS.
DPS, yeah.
Because across MMOs and other multiplayer-focused games, you'll have three sort of molds that every sort of class fits into. Either a tank, so the person who distracts the enemies and takes the damage. The healers keeps people from dying, and the damage DPS classes, which sort of are dealing out the damage. They're focused on basically killing things, which is kind of what you want to do in most games anyways. So again, the two new classes are both DPS classes. The last three ones were a tank, a healer, and a DPS. So I'm a little bummed that they're not more malleable in that way. We're not getting a new healer or a new tank, but I think they're pretty fun to play. So again,
Cool.
I'm going to talk about that more in the weeks to come. And I have a review going up on game-moose.com. Eventually, it's a long game.
There's a lot
really
to play.
long game. I'm still not even at the end.
Yeah.
I'm still not even at the end of the main scenario, and I'm 90 hours in. So get hyped, everyone.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long review. But that's sort of been the bulk of my week. Anyways, we're going to sort of wrap up. But before we go, first of all, I want to say, of course,
That's because I'm antsy as fuck. I'm going to dance out of my chair here in a second.
we've only been here for an hour and a half, Brock. It's fine.
It's a long day.
Anyways, so you can find us over at game-moose.com as our website with all our news, reviews, previews, all that good stuff. You can also be part of the show at any time. Email us at gamemoosecast@gmail.com and with your questions, comments, and concerns. You can also find us on Twitter at game_moose_cast. I'm thinking about maybe changing the Twitter name soon, but we're going to maybe talk about that with you guys. Hopefully you guys like that.
Yep.
And last but not least, you can find Drew over on Twitter at what?
At D McMill, and I have a video essay about RoboCop coming to the site soon.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Get hyped. And Brock, where can
favorite
people
movie.
find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter where I go by Brock McLaughlin, a.k.a. Brock Lobster.
Yeah, Brock will
And BrockStarGaming.com.
Hells yeah.
And Pornhub at Brock Lesnar 69.
Brock Lesnar. That's fun.
Seriously?
No, I do.
Like the
as
wrestler?
Brock Lesnar.
You,
Do you have that tattoo?
Yeah. I do.
The sword dagger thing.
What?
You know, he's got that weird tattoo with this.
Brock
like
Lesnar
I have
has
no
tattoos,
idea.
Brock.
I have no
it's
idea.
Deeply confusing.
Yeah, and also, again, if you check out friends of the show, If We Ran Nintendo podcast, you were on that on an upcoming episode. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
out
I
this
think
week or not.
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
I don't
That's
know.
on.
Check that out this
soon.
week.
That's over Wii
Again,
Limited.
check out Bobby's podcast, of course. I think it's on iTunes.
Yeah, Bobby's great. Bobby loves Nintendo.
Yeah.
And hates it as much as I do at the same time.
Excellent. winning combination.
I think a lot of adults have a love-hate relationship with Nintendo.
I think so.
It's
Yeah.
it's kinda
As
like
most adults should.
To be an adult Nintendo fan is to be deeply confused about your priorities in life.
Yeah. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. That's TURFORD. You can also find the Game Moose YouTube channel over on YouTube. I would give you a specific link, but it's channel A725. It's a long thing.
So here's what you do. You go, you find it, and then you subscribe.
Please subscribe to our
You can
channel.
go to game-moose.com/videos, and you can see all the videos there on our YouTube TV section on the website there. And then from there, you can click on the little YouTube link, and that'll take you to the YouTube webpage where you can both like and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, because I mean, it certainly helps us out. We're trying to build to 100 subscribers because then we can have a custom URL. But
And our moms will talk to us again.
Yeah.
there's that too. We're also trying to. I'm trying to think of ideas for things we can do for 100. So we're going to talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to plug that as well because I put up. We didn't have a show last week, so I apologize, of course, for that. But we did, however, post 2 new Let's Plays.
I was supposed to do a solo show last week, and I got really sick. I'm really sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
So I posted 2 video Let's Plays. One where I played Bubsy, Claw's Encounter of the Third Kind, and another where I played Shadow Dancer, The Secret of Shinobi. One of those is a really good game, and one of them is Bubsy.
Yeah. I'll let you make up your mind what it is.
There you go. So check those out on the YouTube page. Plus, we're going to have some Magic the Gathering stuff in a few weeks. So look for that as well, and as well as other videos to come. Anyways, for Drew McMillan and Brock McLaughlin, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 84 of the Game Moose podcast, and we're out.